Okay, here we go. Are you ready? We are going to be talking about some really cool stuff here today. So, welcome to the Superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'm going to be talking to you all about a few little things from nature that inspired airplane design. And this was an idea from Daniel last week, and yeah, I didn't read it out last week, but I was like, hey, that's a good idea. So we'll do a little show on that. We aim to please at the Super Pilotish channel. So okay, so I was thinking about this, and how could I mean, you're not going to see like a 747 going around that's like, hey, this was designed like a cheetah because cheetahs go fast. But oh, hey, Rolly, and hey, Wrench. So yeah, so we're gonna go back in time, back in history, to when I don't know. I guess besides like space aliens on caveman walls or something like that, there was some drawings around in the late 1400s by good old Leonardo da Vinci. So I'm gonna experiment with my double monitor setup here today, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so good old Leonardo. Hey, look at that, pretty cool. We got the high tech stuff. So he was drawing something like this over here, and he was looking at birds, and he was saying, "How do those birds fly, man?" And like, actually, Leonardo da Vinci came up with a lot of drawings. He was kind of an artist, kind of a scientist, kind of an engineer, kind of a little bit of everything. The Renaissance man. So, oh, hey, Harold. And yeah, so Leonardo made, if you look up like Leonardo da Vinci flying machines, he came up with all kinds of different ones, like little, like I guess the first idea of like a helicopter, but you kind of called it like an air screw, which kind of makes sense, I guess, from his time, because back then, okay, you were talking, I think I forget the exact dates. I checked it out on Wikipedia, but yeah, Da Vinci died like the early 1500s, and he was hanging around in the mid 1400s. So that was a while ago, but back then they still had, they still had a lot of ships that were sailing around, and you could think about, okay, I'm going to talk with my hands here now. If I have a sail like this, and it's like, okay, if the wind's going directly against it, it's not going to go anywhere. But if I tilt it like that, now it's going forward. So, I mean, they knew that about sailing boats, sailing ships, and stuff like that. So I think Leonardo da Vinci just kind of thought, well, what if I have a sail, I go like this, and I rotate the thing around and make my own wind, and I can kind of screw itself up. So there was like, he's got this little flying screw. He's also, they knew about balloons and how hot air rises back then too. So, all of Da Vinci's, or Leonardo, if I want to be like a real cool guy, Leonardo, I don't know, Leonardo da Vinci, that guy. Yeah, so he was drawing a bunch of this stuff, and so that was obviously inspired by a bird. I wonder if I can move my little cursor over here and you can see that. Oh yeah, there we go. So you got your wing. Yeah, it kind of looks like a bird with all these little finger thingamajiggies in there, little ribs, and they kind of do design wings kind of like that today. They're not exactly like a bird, but it's somewhat similar. And what do we got here? Oh, we're going ahead of time. Okay. Yeah, so okay, he did all that kind of stuff, and there we go. There's your first example of it. But another person that was thinking about bird wings were these two guys, the Wright brothers. Okay, so I really wish that when I was down in Dayton, Ohio, the last time, that I went to the Wright Museum there, and I might have to get down there one of these days again. And I didn't get to see the outside of the Air Force Museum in Dayton too. So I mean, that'd be a good full day right there. But yeah, so the Wright brothers, when they were thinking about making an airplane and stuff, they started experimenting with kites like this, and then they thought, what else can we do? And actually, I'm going to pull this up on Wikipedia really quick. All right. This took a little bit longer for me to to get ready for this show. Wikipedia. Because everything on Wikipedia is absolutely true, right? But I figured good, like for general I mean, you wouldn't want to be writing on his you wouldn't want to write a university paper on this or anything like that. But I think this is good enough. Okay, here we go. So let's come over here. Wait a minute. Got to get back on my thing. I got all these tabs open here. I'm surprised my computer isn't blowing up. Okay, let's do this. We're going to go to our next slide over here. Aha. Now, what is this? So this is a design from the Wright brothers. And so this is, you could see over here, the idea of warping wings. So that's what all this is. You got a couple sticks down here, and you got some cable, some ropes over here, and you got your kite over here. So that's how they experimented with, at first they got the kite, and it's like, how can we direct this kite to go around and stuff like that? So I'm reading here off of Wikipedia. In 1900, Wilbur Wright wrote, quote, "My observations of the flight of birds convince me that birds use more positive and energetic methods of regaining equilibrium than that of shifting the center of gravity. They regain their lateral balance by a torsion of the tips of the wings." So that's kind of like this stuff over here. Yeah, so to torsion on the wing. Okay, and if the rear edge of the right wing tip is twisted upward and the left downward, the bird becomes an animated windmill and instantly begins to turn, a line from its head to its tail being the axis. After Wilbur demonstrated the method, Orville noted, "From this, it was apparent that the wings of a machine of the Chanute, whatever that is, double deck type." Oh yeah, those like some other airplane designer. So the wings of a machine of the double deck type, so the up and down wings, with the fore and aft trussing removed, could be warped in like manner, so that flying the wings on the right and left sides could be warped so as to present their surfaces to the air at different angles of incidence and thus secure unequal lifts on the two sides, and that would create bank for you. And that's so they kind of came up with this little drawing over here, and there we go. So that was their idea on how to turn. And then later on, let's go back to me here. Let's go back to the star. Yeah, and so later on they had oh hey Brian. Yeah, later on, so they invented the aileron. So in about world, and of course, I'm an expert on this because I've been just reading about it this morning. But anyways, it kind of put together all the bits and pieces that I'd heard over the years. And so in World War I, there was a whole bunch of airplane design going on because you got to beat the enemy, right? And then so so they went from this wing warping idea to incorporating ailerons to create bank. And I'll get my little KD-12X over here to demonstrate. So right now, actually, do I have ailerons? Oh, I don't have any ailerons drawn on my plane so well. But yeah, so we're talking about there, the way that you're going to turn your plane is you're going to bank it, and then it starts turning over like that. So you'd have ailerons, one goes up, one goes down, and then it would bank. Let me see which one would have more lift. It would be like this. And then, so you would bank that way. But if you twist the wings, I don't want to twist this because it's cardboard and it'll just never come back. But you give it a twist. I wonder if I can do that. Yeah, and that's the way the birds do it. And you can see that too if you ever see birds ripping around, especially the cool birds like I don't know, you see like hawks and stuff like that where their head's in one place and they're kind of twisting their wings all around and doing their cool stuff. So so that was the ideas from the Wright brothers. And what else I got here? Oh, and then eventually here we go, they came up with this one here, the Wright Flyers. So that was the first powered flight. And now the weird thing about this too, about talking about wing warping and ailerons and and powered flight back there. Like back then, there was development going on all over the world. Like it was going on in the United States, in England, in France, Brazil, even, I think. So the Brazilians like to say that they had the first guy that was flying. So it's kind of all over the place who did what. And then this guy patented this in this country, but then the other guy patented it in the other country like 40 years before, but no one knew about it because they didn't have the internet, stuff like that. So yeah, so there we go. That's that. So that was uh, a little bit of something. How at the very beginning there was, there was a little bit of copying of nature there, and of course all of that. The idea, I think people probably knew about aerodynamics a little bit because I figured they'd have, if you got a ship. Well, how do I do this here now? Boom. So if you got a ship, let's get out the whiteboard here. We're going full multimedia. All right. Maybe not. Yeah. Okay. So if you're thinking about like a ship way back when, I don't know, that when the Vikings came over to North America about, what was that, 1,000 years ago? So I don't know. All the people out in Newfoundland, they like to say that, oh, we were the first people visited by Europe. Like everyone says, oh, Christopher Columbus, he in whatever discovered North America, and then the people out in Newfoundland here in Canada, they say no, he didn't. Eric the Red did in like 1100 or something like that. 1,000 years ago, and when they went to Greenland and Iceland, and they actually have a out in Newfoundland and Labrador, they kind of made it that way, catching lots of fish, and there we go. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so even then, like 1,000 years ago, or even older than that, I don't know, like even the Indians here making their canoes, it's like that you don't have anything too jagged. You want everything kind of slippery to go through the water. And it's easier to paddle your canoe if it's not shaped like a box and if it's kind of shaped like a fish, kind of like pointy at one end, pointy at the other end. And then so like everybody kind of knew that. So if you put that into airplane design, I don't know, I guess it kind of makes sense. And yeah, so what else can I tell you here about that? Oh yeah, and so when they were talking about, like boat design going through water, okay, let's make it slippery like that. And then they thought, well, hey, let's do airplane design. And look at that. Oh, let's make that more slippery. So we'll make it like a bird, And so I don't know if you didn't know it. It's basically the air that we go through. It actually behaves like a liquid, like water. The way the molecules work and everything like that. That's the same thing. And actually, it got me kind of thinking back in my machinist days and stuff like that too, that steel actually is a liquid. It's a very hard liquid, steel, right? But it behaves like a liquid. And that's why people like to use it for, making parts for cars and machining it and stuff, because it behaves like a liquid. The solid steel will actually flow like a liquid across your cutting tool. So that's that behaves differently than, say, something like brass or copper or nylon or anything like that. There you're just kind of jamming things and smushing them out of the way, but steel actually flows like a liquid. So that's why everyone uses steel in manufacturing. That's a little side note. So if we're talking about liquids and stuff like that, let's go over here again and something else from nature. Hey, there we go. There's another airplane right there. So the other thing I was thinking about that could be kind of taken from nature, I guess, was on these fish. They have their what's this? A caudal fin, adipose fin, dorsal fin, anal fin, pelvic fins, and pectoral fins over here. So so I was thinking about the fish and stuff like that. And so when it comes to, now I'm going to go to my whiteboard here. We're going to talk some more airplane design. So let's just say you're going super, super fast, right? You want to go supersonic. So all these old supersonic airplanes, whether it was like the Concorde or, anything like that, all the airplanes kind of look like this. There we go. That is the top of a delta wing, as they say, because it's like the Greek letter delta. And then that's the best wing that you can kind of use for supersonic stuff, or at least that's what they were working on, because you get your little shock wave here, and then the shock wave goes back like this, and you still have control surfaces. I don't know if you can see that there. So you can still have control surfaces back here that work when you're going at a supersonic speed, and you got this weird shock wave and all kinds of weird airs compressing up here and heating and doing all kinds of weird stuff. But that's cool. The problem with the delta wing airplanes is that that's great at high speed, but at low speed, like in order for them to fly, if you ever notice, if you ever see some old Concorde videos and stuff like that, when Concorde's flying around, it's going Mach 2 or whatever. It's pretty cool. It's here's my Concorde. It's going like this. But if you ever notice when the Concorde is coming into land, it's got this huge angle. It's kind of coming down like this. Like, it's crazy. That's why they had to tilt the nose on the Concorde so the pilots could see where they're going when they're coming into land. So that was like really weird. And then so when you're doing that at slow speed, if you have that high angle of attack, these little ailerons back here, there's not a lot of control authority over that, and things can get kind of mushy and gross. And that's the official aerodynamic term, mushy and gross. But so some people have put, for slower speeds, you could put something up here like this. A couple little fins at the front here that are still within the shock wave, and you're still good. So where did they get that from? I'm guessing they got it from a fish. So there's your pectoral fins right there. The front of for example, it's actually called a canard wing, but there we go. There's a Eurofighter Typhoon, and you can see it's got these little, I would call those fishy pectoral fins, but it's actually a canard wing. So there we go. The Eurofighter Typhoon. Dun, dun, dun. And so you could kind of say that there kind of could have come from a fish. And yeah, so there we go. So that's about the best that I can think of for nature. The other thing I can think about, but I don't have any pictures of, is, let's go back to me. Yeah. So another thing that you kind of, that I don't know if they really got it from nature or anything like that, but where's my excellent? I got all these like cables and wires, and over here you can't see. My regular eraser is not here, so I'll get out the other aerodynamic thing that I could kind of point out to you. Was that if you ever notice that these birds that like to soar, okay, you get, let's try, actually I will talk about the white owl, because I saw this white owl once. It was so cool. For some reason, I was just like looking out the window one night. I was up in Sudbury, and it was just, I look out, and then there's this white kind of lump on the road. So I opened up the door and I went out there, and this white owl is so cool. It just like spread out its wings from, here's my white owl. Okay, there's my white owl, and then his wings went, or her wings went. Okay, that's not the best owl in the world, but they're big. It was like a 6-foot wingspan, just went, and it just took off, and it was super silent. And then for a while there at the airport here in Windsor, the white owls were hanging out, and in the wintertime looking for mice and stuff like that. And they were just so cool. Their wings just get so big, but they're so big and skinny like that, and they could go into, they would just sit on a runway sign, and they would go skim. They would just jump off the runway sign, expand their wings, and they just scoot along at 6 inches off the ground, just like that. But what that is because they have a great big wingspan like that, which is designed for gliding. and all the wingtip vortices and everything interact with the ground, and then so it's in ground effect. Like, so that's pretty cool. That's some aerodynamic stuff, but so that's why you'll notice that um, if you have like most gliders, they're designed to get rid of that induced drag, and they have very long, skinny glider wings, just like an owl. And same thing with like your B-2 bomber, where it goes up where the air is super, super thin, like up in, what are they, how high do they go? Like 70,000 feet, 60,000, 80,000 feet, maybe, the U-2, right up there on the edge of space. But they need these little skinny wings like that, just like the owl, to, get as much lift as possible. But they can't, the U-2, they can't really go that fast. So you'd need that delta wing for the super fast. Okay, anyways, there's something else there. So if you got like a great big long wingspan with a narrow chord, there we go. That is good for gliding. And there we go. So that's about it for that. And just for kicks, I should bring up my fish again, because I think that's like the most amazing thing that you've ever seen in your entire life. But anyways, now this here is pretty cool too. I would like to fly one of those, but ain't gonna happen. Okay. So there you go, Daniel. That's all I can tell you about airplanes and how they've been inspired by nature. Although in my travels, there was some. I saw some articles where they're doing research now on bat wings and how bat wings are made and how they fly and stuff like that. So, don't know about bat wing airplanes. I couldn't see bat wings breaking the sound barrier, but I could see something where, I don't know, maybe something with like drone technology and stuff like that, where you always hear the drones going, they make a lot of noise. I could see some kind of drone something to be more efficient and eliminate that noise, but oh well. And apparently they're studying bat wings. Someone's got to do it. So there we go. I'm going to go through some of these comments here, and we'll see what's up. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna put Brian up here because he said this was a great topic. So Brian has come to understand that many, if not all, of the amenities that have been created all have their origins based on the fundamental designs and laws of nature. Great topic, Graham. Yep. Thanks, Brian. And I cut my lawnmower. I used my lawnmower the other day. Man, the Brian lawnmower is one to be envious of. Okay. And Wrench, our engineer in the house, says birds don't have any vertical stabilizers, so it's totally logical that a plane can be made without, but to react quickly enough was beyond control systems then. Because if you look at like the not the B1, B2, the B2 bomber, the stealth bomber, that doesn't have any vertical stabilizer. So, but yeah, it's totally unstable. If the computer fails eject, it's gonna crash. Okay, what else we got here? Lots of people wrongly think that Whitehead Weisskopf flew in a Lilienthal Da Vinci type plane. There was no proof, but surprised his fuselage looked pretty much like a canoe. And we got another good comment here. Almost surprised that wing twisting isn't used today. Seems like it would have less drag than ailerons. I think there could do some, and I'm really surprised it hasn't happened here too, Rich. That there could be, like, the technology as it's evolving, like and the way that the computer design can be done now on wings. Like, who's to say you couldn't have a bird wing? Well, I don't know. That's not really a bird, but if you had some kind of bird wing, and then it can, if you're going to go really fast, okay, you make it flat and you make it kind of delta wing-ish like this. But then what if you could take this wing and you're going supersonic, who's to say when you get to a lower altitude or lower speeds that the whole shape of the wing can't, maybe the whole shape of the wing would be able to change and you can get rid of these fins up here. And, or maybe it doesn't have to be a delta. It could be something else. But I mean, we do have slats and flats, flaps and slats on wings. But, like I would think that we could do some kind of carbon fiber nano something or other where, where the whole wing can just, instead of having these little flappy things moving, like the whole thing can transform. But I mean, that's, I don't know. I mean, it's probably something doable because if you have a slat on the front, flap on the back, who's to say you can't have more of them in between and the whole wing changes to optimize the aerodynamics? I don't know. I think we have the technology. I think we could do it. It's, I'll bet you if you just throw enough money at it, someone could do it. Here we go. Oh, and following natural shapes. The old Connie fuselage was great. Not a tube, but instead every cross section different. It was more efficient, but too expensive. Yeah, that Connie, the Constellation. Yeah, that's a gorgeous kind of Art Deco kind of groovy airplane, man. That's really neat. Okay. And yes, that's right. The Concorde Ski TU 144 had canards too. Yeah. And the safety doc made it in here. Batman. I'm secretly designing bat wings in my bat cave here, Doc. Yeah, sure. Okay. We got other people talking about this. I guess that's why we have flying fish. Quite the spectacle to see when I was cruising in Jamaica. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, and that's another thing too. I was thinking about how the birds that are flying, whether it's seagulls soaring around or hawks or owls and stuff like that, their head stays stationary, and then their bodies move around their heads. I can't do it on my. I'm not a bird. I can't do that. But I saw a video too. Apparently, squirrels do that too. So if you have those little flying squirrels, their body will move and everything like that, but its head will stay stationary, and it's gonna go to hit its point where it wants to jump to. And I don't know, I watched the squirrels eat all the tomatoes in my backyard here too and stuff like that, and I see them jumping around on the roofs, and it's like, yeah, the squirrels, like they can really manipulate, even if the non-flying squirrels, yeah, they can kind of manipulate themselves so that they can kind of jump from tree to tree and kind of aerodynamically get to where they want. Squirrels can almost fly. And apparently they can fall at terminal velocity. I learned this from YouTube. The squirrels can land at terminal velocity because they spread themselves out and they create so much drag, and then they can just plant the landing, and they spread out all the weight of their landing on their strong legs and their body, and they can just boink off they go. So you never see a squirrel fly. You don't see squirrels fall out of trees too much either, too. Okay, what else we got here? Yes, WKRP was convinced that turkeys could fly. That is true. That was a good show. Okay. What else we got here? I think somewhere near Middle Ohio, turkeys can fly. Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, I have seen wild turkeys fly, but not much. Just kind of like up to a roof or something like that. All right, so there we go. Okay, what else we got here? Yeah, that's about it. Okay, Daniel, there's your show. So, yeah, I think that's about it. And today is Monday. Okay, so if you guys ever have any like suggestions on anything you want to see, I've just shown today, I can throw something together. Let me know, and I'll talk about it. I'll take requests, like your favorite super pilotish DJ. Okay, so today's Monday, so I'll be back on Wednesday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern, and we'll just kind of shut her down here. So thanks for coming in the chat, guys. And thanks for the idea, Daniel. And thank you for watching. Bye.